And welcome on in, everybody, to the Check Your Brain podcast. Thank you for listening, whether you're listening on Patreon or for free, which you get every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcast. But Patreon, this goes up a couple of days early, sometimes a couple of weeks, maybe a month early. Hi, everybody. It's Tony Mazur with the Check Your Brain podcast. And my guest this week, because it is January, a lot of people decide they want to do some New Year's resolutions of getting themselves back in shape, or they want to start exercising, they want to eat better. And then usually they always say about Martin Luther King Day, about 2-3 weeks in the regimen, you went a couple of times and you made an excuse, maybe you didn't feel well, whatever it is, and then you stop going. So a lot of gym memberships kind of, I think that's how gyms ended up making a lot of money anyways, is that everybody goes in on January 1st in the first couple of days, and then they just keep your gym membership. And you're like, oh, shoot, I forgot. I have a gym membership. I should probably use that at some point. Oh, gee, it's September and I haven't gone back since January. So my goal in this podcast is to try to get people off the couch and get exercise and get eating better, including myself, who is doing day one of a juice cleanse. Let's see, this one is, I have to drink 8 juices today. And first one is, it's called the Elixir Shot. It has apple, wheatgrass, lemon, parsley, and ginger. So that's what's going to start my day. Well, somebody who's going to help me through the process and hopefully help you is Angela Riley. She's done podcasts. She's a photographer. And as you see, if you're watching on the YouTube page or if you're watching on Patreon, her progress picture. And you want to talk about a progress picture. Some people, it's like the Alex Jones thing where Alex has his shirt off and the next picture, it looks like the exact same photo, just him a little more tan. Others, they actually really, and this is one of those, it looks like one of those commercials, those infomercials, like, I tried this diet and I lost 75 pounds. And look at me. And you're like, yeah, okay. Well, how much stomach stapling, how much did you get? No, this girl worked at it. And I've admired her through Instagram, looking at what she was able to do and figuring out what she needed to do for several years now. And I'm really happy for her, and I'm happy that she's on this podcast today. So, Angela, welcome to the Check Your Brain podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So, I'm sharing the Instagram page, which your Instagram is AR_fitness78.
Yeah, super original, I know.
So you posted this back in November, but this was what is this, 3 years apart, right?
Yeah. So the left photo, I believe is like 2019. I don't know the exact month. And then the right one was actually the day of my last competition, October 1st of 2022.
Wow.
That's why I have that beautiful brown orangey tan going on there.
The maple syrup tan, yes.
Yeah, it's awful.
So but like in that picture though, because I remember you would be on Compound Media and they would show the camera and you would be sitting there with Stacey Pressman and Gino Bisconti and everything, and you were like, you considered yourself a big gal.
Yes.
But was this always a situation for you? Did you always have a problem with weight? What was your story with this?
Well, first off, I didn't just consider myself a big gal. I'm pretty sure everyone considered me a big gal, because I clocked in at about 230 at my heaviest. And no, it wasn't always. So basically my whole life, okay, I was always like, I guess, the chunkier kind of, kid and girl. Even in high school when I felt like I was big, I wasn't necessarily like huge, but I was never fit girl. I was never except for a brief period in my 20s when I had gotten a trainer and I lost like 30 some pounds or whatever, and that didn't last very long. But generally speaking, I was always a little bit more on the chubbier or curvier side, but never like a huge girl until my 30s. And a lot of women can relate, every so many years, especially when you hit your 30s, then when you hit your 40s, we kind of like, probably the same with men. I don't really know. I'm not a man, but things get harder. Your metabolism kind of slows down and, you put on the weight even easier as we age. So my 30s, I was in a horrible relationship with a horrible person. And for some reason, I just allowed myself to like get into that victim-y kind of situation, which I never thought I would ever do. And I was depressed. And so I just would eat and whatever. And then he would criticize me, call me fat in front of everyone, fun stuff like that. Like, which of course fueled it even more. And it just spiraled out of control. And I remember going to the doctors. I had went to the doctor in the beginning of the year. And then the following year, I was like literally like a year apart. I went back to my doctor and I had gained like 60 pounds in the year. And he's like, did you like have a kid or something? And I'm like, no. And he's like, how did you gain 60 pounds in a year? I'm like, I don't know. I like food. So anyway, basically my entire 30s and the very beginning of my 40s were spent being, I guess you would almost consider me like morbidly obese if you go by the whole chart and everything. I was 230 pounds. And yeah, so that's basically how it went. And
was there a bottom out point? Was there a point where you just said, look, I can't keep this weight on and I have to stick to it? Because I'm sure over the years you're like, no, I need a good weight loss regimen. I need to do this. Maybe you lost a couple of pounds, but either it wasn't enough or you needed to, you needed something more. You need to stay true to it.
Yep.
What was the point where you said, no, I have to do this?
So okay. So here, I'm glad you said the whole, like lose a couple pounds and then that kind of thing, because I even throughout like the whole gaining of, 100 pounds or whatever, I went to the gym. I was running half marathons at 230 pounds, not fast. I was one of the slowest people in the half marathon, but like, I always tried, you know what I mean? I tried, but I would have little successes, like you said, and then fail again. But the real, low point, or what kind of like really kick-started the whole weight loss thing, and I just kept going with it, was when I did a podcast with Stacy Pressman, we had a co-host and he was my boyfriend, and I had caught him in bed with his super thin blonde girlfriend. Now I was 230 pounds again. So I was a big girl, and I'm sitting there and she's like, not leaving. And it was like the most awkward situation of my life. It was like 6 hours of like just humiliation. And, she's hugging me like, how could you do this to her? And I'm crying. And I had a white t-shirt on at the time. And I remember looking down and there was like, I don't know where it came from, but there was like a stain on my shirt. And I was just like fat and being cheated on, and I was like, oh my God, this has got to be the most embarrassing, like depressing, humiliating thing ever. Like I never thought, like you hear about people, oh, I caught him in bed with somebody or whatever, but like I never knew anybody that actually physically caught somebody in bed. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like that girl. So I had already had a trainer and was trying unsuccessfully. But then at that point I was like, no, I'm done. Like I am done. So, and then luckily my gym right at that time. So that happened in March of, 2019. March of 2019 is when I caught him, March 5th to be exact. And then, April, I think it was by April, they started a weight loss competition at the gym that I went to. And my trainer's like, you should sign up for it. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I've never competed in anything really. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not my thing. And he's like, just sign up for it, sign up for it. And then I signed up for it. And then suddenly I was like, I want to win. I want to win. And I was like going to the gym and I'm doing like two a day, cardio and stuff like that, just trying to really win. And I ended up getting second place. And I think I might've lost like 20 pounds, and it was an 8-week, 8-week transformation thing. And then they had another one like 2 weeks later, signed up for that one. Then they had a third one. I signed up for that one. Then they had a fourth one, which was set to end right when the whole lockdown from the quarantine, COVID and everything. It was supposed to end in April of 2020, right? Am I saying that right? Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. April of 2020. And of course the gyms all shut down like the end of March. So, but yeah, so that's pretty much what started it. I just kept doing these competitions, dropping the weight. And then when the pandemic happened, I got nervous. I got really nervous. I got depressed for a minute, and I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna fall back, because at this point, I was using these competitions to like keep me in line. You know what I mean? Like, I knew that if I fell off track for a week or two, I was starting another competition. So I would, get back on track. And then I just was like, no, you cannot do this. So, the office that I work at, we had like a little dance studio, and I just started going to the dance studio every day during quarantine and stuff. And I was working out by myself, then I was bringing friends along, and the next thing you know, we were doing like a boot camp outside in the parking lot with like 15 people meeting us every week, or multiple times a week. We were setting up little stations. It was minimal, we had no equipment, and I don't know if anybody tried to order any gym stuff during the quarantine, or the lockdown and stuff. It was impossible. Like a dumbbell might cost you like 3 or 4 times what it would normally cost you, and you couldn't even get them. So we had really limited stuff, but we were just making it work. I would come here with a guy that I was kind of seeing at the time. Well, I mean, he ended up being my boyfriend, but at the time we were just newly dating. We would come here, we would jog, we would set up things, whatever. So anyway, the point is, like, I found a way to make it happen, because I knew that if I didn't, it was going to just, spiral back out of control.
So basically you did this because there was a trauma, that there was something
Correct.
that ended up happening in triggering depression, because a lot of people, they just need that motivation, and their motivation isn't, hey, I got to get in shape for a wedding, or, hey, I've got this, this, and this. Like, there's always like a positive, whether it's you getting in shape for a wedding, or I got to get in shape, otherwise I die.
Right.
But I think most people fall into the category of, I just I can't go, like,
Mhm.
I'm not motivated. I feel embarrassed. I see all these fit people and girls in yoga pants, and the guys wearing the muscle shirts. And here I am, I'm wearing just a racing t-shirt, and I'm dumpy and everything like that. And to be honest, the gym community, and this, is way more accepting than people think. They think it's just a bunch of lugs over there, just like, oh, look at my muscles. It's like, no, when it doesn't matter what size you are, it's a very appreciative community of people saying, as long as you come here, that you look, if you bring your tablet and you watch Netflix, as long as you're doing something here. And it's a very helpful community that I think a lot of people are really intimidated by.
Yeah. When I was my heaviest, and obviously, like, I was embarrassed to go there. I always felt like when the photo you just had up, like me on doing like shows at Compound Media with, all of the thin girls, the thin comedian girls and everything. I always felt like the biggest girl in the room. I always felt that way amongst all my friends, even, and it was the same with going to the gym. But I was like, you know what? I'm doing it, and if I'm going to be the fattest girl in the room right now, like in the gym, I'm going to be the one that everybody cannot deny is working the hardest. Because even if I'm the biggest, you can't say, oh, look at that, look at that piece of crap just sitting over there, taking up space on the machine, just chatting away on her phone. No, I was in there running back and forth, doing sprints and shuffles, and with my trainer yelling across the gym, getting all kinds of attention to me, like, let's go, like a crazy person. And next thing you know, everybody's coming up to me like, oh my God, like, I can't believe how fast you're going. I can't believe how hard you're working. And then as the weight was coming off, like, you're doing so good. They were so supportive, so supportive. And that was
That's
another
great.
thing when the gyms closed down, and I was like, oh my God, I'm like losing all of my people that every day were like motivating me, because it gets addicting when you have people telling you like, you're killing it. I wish I had your energy. I wish I had your strength. I wish I had your this and that. And then when you start losing, or when you don't have those things, I think though the lockdown actually helped me, because suddenly I realized I've got to now figure out how to do this on my own. I've got to figure out how to succeed when I don't have someone that I'm paying to yell at me and make sure I'm doing things, when I don't have all the people complimenting me at the gym and stuff like that. And I started reading. I was like reading tons of things and trying to figure out workouts that might work best for me. And then, you know, what to eat. And that's kind of when I started getting obsessed with the whole thought of maybe doing like a fitness competition, because those were the people that I was following, like, you know, a bodybuilding type competition or whatever. Those were the people I was following for like motivation and tips and stuff like that. And then it started getting me like, wow, I wonder if I could do this someday. So, yeah. But so bottom line, to go back to like what you said, it's scary. Yeah. But what's worse? Like, we're walking around, embarrassed in our own skin every day anyway.
Yeah.
We're used to that feeling. So just go there. The people are going to respect you that you're trying to do something about it. And if they don't respect you, screw them. It's not about them. It's about doing what you've got to do to feel good about yourself and to live like a healthy life.
Well, and that brings me to my next thing, is the healthy lifestyle. Is, for me personally, I've been really, like, I've never been overweight. I mean, I guess if you want to talk about the BPI thing, you know, where they say like somebody's morbidly obese, you're like, I could see ribs right now and I could see abs. You're going to say I'm overweight and obese, but whatever. I was always a skinny kid, and I would play baseball. I hated lifting weights when I was a kid. And even in high school, and, you know, as I get to a point where I'm like, man, if I would have lifted weights, I would have had more scholarships and playing baseball, may have gotten drafted in the minor leagues. Instead, I threw my arm out, and I'm like, well, I got to do something. I got to get into radio. I got to get in my whatever I'm passionate about. So my aunt was a personal trainer, and she was putting out these videos with the class. So it was like watching the old Jane Fonda videos, and you'd have the class there, and it was a weightlifting class, and the weights were, I think, like 20 pounds. It was like a 5-pound barbell, and, you know, you had like a couple of weights on the side, and you're like, oh, this is going to be easy. And you would do it coordinated to music. And I remember it was Listen to the Music by Doobie Brothers. So it was like, oh, listen to the music, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And they're like, oh, this is going to be easy. And I couldn't lift my arms. I felt like John McCain afterward. It was so bad. And I'm like, I need to get in shape. And so I started doing that, and you start getting addicted. And I remember the first time I went to the gym, I was doing an ab exercise, and I had a sleeveless shirt on, and I saw the power vein for the first time. I'm like, uh-oh, I think we're going to have to keep coming back here. So my problem has never been going to the gym. I love going to the gym. I love lifting. I love, as much as I can, running, the cardio. I have to do it, the abs. But that's my problem, is I like to eat. I like to eat. I like to drink booze. And that's the problem. That's been my problem for a long time. And I think it's a problem for a lot of people, is that if they're not seeing the proper results, it's because of nutrition. And, you know, you could talk to different people and nutrition specialists that say it's 80% diet, 20% exercise. Some will say 90% diet. Others will say 50-50. What would you say is a good balance? Because I'm somebody that, where I used to go to an LA Fitness, and when I was living on my own, and I didn't have any money, and I can't cook. That was my other big thing. So I walk out of an LA Fitness and I look around, I'm like, there's a Chipotle over there, Panda Express there, there's this. I'm so distracted that I want to go and get like this massive Chipotle burrito, completely ruin my workout, but it fills me up. So my big thing is, it's not so much the intimidation going to the gym. It's, what do I need to do to cut the calories in order to see those results? And what is your balance?
So, okay. Mine, yes, I went to the gym as a big girl, and I never could lose enough, or lose and maintain, you know, keep it off. So it wasn't until I changed how I ate completely that happened. My diet now is not one that is normal for a normal person, because I do the whole like competing thing now. So clearly, like, that's not like a normal balanced lifestyle. I can't say enough, and I don't get any endorsements for this, and it costs nothing. So there's no reason for me to say this, except for the fact that I 100% believe it. The easiest tool that we could all use when you're starting to lose weight, or even if you want to maintain your weight or whatever, is the MyFitnessPal app. You plug in. Okay, so like, let's say you don't want to completely take all the things you love out of your diet, right? You put in your weight, you put in like how active you are, whatever. I don't even like track my calories and like take away my cardio calories or anything like that from it. I simply use it to accurately track my food and stay in my calories that they give me for the day. So if you want to lose weight, it allows you to type in up to 2 pounds a week. So you could do a half a pound a week, a pound, pound and a half, 2 pounds, right? You put in your weight, you put in your age and all that kind of stuff. And then every single thing you eat, you put it in there. And people are like, oh, that sounds so hard and stuff. Well, it's not that hard, because if you want to pay for the upgraded one, then you can actually scan barcodes. You've got to start paying attention to portions, servings. That's one of the things that kills it. I never really thought about it. Like, for instance, we were talking about cereal earlier, right? Okay, we eat a bowl of cereal. We eat a bowl of cereal, right? Well, the standard sugary kid cereal is usually around 160 calories per serving. A serving, a lot of times, is not even a full cup. It's like a quarter cup. I mean, no, I'm sorry, 3/4 of a cup, maybe a cup of cereal, right? We're eating a bowl. So
Yeah.
right there, you just blew it out of the water. Like, and you're in your brain, you're thinking like, yeah, I just had a little bit of cereal, like maybe, 200
Doesn't even
calories.
fill me up. I'm getting another bowl.
Yeah. So that's the biggest problem, is we do not pay attention to the labels and actual portion sizes and stuff like that. So with the MyFitnessPal thing, it really started, I can almost like spout out like the amount of calories on like so many things, because I've like just been tracking and stuff. You just start putting everything you eat in there, and it starts helping you keep track so that you can maintain or stay in that calorie range that you need to be in order to lose. But it also starts to make you really aware of what you're doing and what you're eating. So like if you're at work and there's a bowl of candy there, and every time you walk by it, you don't even think of it, you grab a little piece, right? Well, at the end of the day, you may have had 200, 300, 400 calories worth of candy, like without even thinking, because you're just mindlessly popping things into your mouth. So it's just, you got to become more aware of what you're eating. And the other thing is you got to be okay with a little bit of like boringness sometimes. Like I think it was like Dr. Phil one time. He said something like, you got to live to eat, not eat to live. So yes, and my trainer, the trainer that I had not that long ago, I had said something like, well, don't I get a cheat meal or something? And this was after I had lost the weight and I'm trying to prep for a competition and everything. I'm like, don't I get a cheat meal? And she's like, your whole effing life's been nothing but a cheat meal. It's been one big fat cheat meal. And I'm like, oh, I guess she's like, what do you need to eat this week that you haven't already been eating your whole life? What are you missing out on? You know what I mean?
Wawa.
Like, we're not really missing out on. And half the time, like, I don't know about you, but sometimes like when I'm real good and real strict and stuff, and then I'm like, oh, like for some reason I love Burger King breakfast. Okay. So like I'll be like, oh, I am going to go get me some Burger King breakfast. I remember like my post show, my first show, I was like, all right, you're going to go off the rails for like a week or whatever. You're going to eat whatever you want. And I wanted pizza. I wanted Burger King breakfast. Every freaking thing I had did not even taste as good as I thought it did. I'm like, I was so mad afterwards. And then I was like, well, I got to get another one because that wasn't even satisfying. So must have been something wrong with that pizza. Got to get another pizza. Got to get another dirty, breakfast sandwich or whatever. And then, weeks later, I'm like packing on the pounds and I'm not even that happy. It's not like I had anything that was like so amazing and like nothing I'd ever have before.
You truly felt the feeling of an empty calorie.
Yeah, it was like, this was not even worth it. At the time, it's like a temporary, like you're like, for a second, but it's never really worth it. But so anyway, if you want to live just a normal lifestyle, like obviously we need to have nights where we can go out and drink. We need to have nights where we can, have great, fun food or desserts or whatever. So, but if you track everything on that, MyFitnessPal or by yourself or whatever, start meal prepping, packing your food, making a plan for the day, because that's the other thing. If you don't make a plan, as soon as the hunger hits, it's a wrap. You know what I mean? You're not going to go find that healthy choice. You're just going to grab whatever it is that you can get your hands on the quickest. And so you gotta be okay with living a little bit of a boring life, maybe Monday through Friday, and then, having some fun on the weekend or whatever.
So the other big thing that I always think about when people want to get healthy, and you hear about world hunger, and it's not a political thing, but you hear about world hunger, but a lot of the world is not hungry anymore. We've actually done a very good job of getting people the opportunity to eat in a very inexpensive way. The problem is America is one of the first, I think the original country where our most unhealthy are also completely obese, because it used to be like, oh, I'm starving, I would love to have a hamburger, that'd be great. Instead, you can go to McDonald's and Burger King for $1 and fill up. You can have a family of 4, fill your family up on $20, but it's not healthy. It's not good for you. So then you go over to Whole Foods and you go and shop for kale. You get some carrot juice. You get this, and this. You realize you racked up a $300 bill. I mean, this juice cleanse that I'm on right now, it's a 3-day, it's a 72-hour juice cleanse, $165, just to try to cleanse out and just get healthy. But I think that's one thing a lot of people start to, when they look at their prices and they look at their bank account, cannot afford to eat healthy. Like, okay, yeah, you can go to the store, get some bananas, get some apples, get everything. But if you really want to get to that next level, I think a lot of people are concerned because they go to a GNC, they go to a vitamin shop, and they're like, I can't afford any of this. I can't afford to go to Whole Foods. I have to get the calories. I have to get my pre-workout meal is a coffee cake instead of something that's actually going to help me burn some of those calories, and then have a protein that's going to help me replenish and help me build up my muscle. Instead, it's like, I guess I'm going to have some pasta or some ramen that does nothing for you. So I think that's a problem a lot of people go through, is that they can't afford a healthier lifestyle, literally.
True and false. It is way more expensive to try to buy like a bunch of healthy stuff. And if you're trying to buy protein powders and stuff like that, like they have skyrocketed even in the last, just the few years that I've been like into it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
a tub of protein that I used to get, I think it was like maybe $49.99 or 50, some is now like $79.99. It's insane, right? But like, and well, that's kind of a bad example now too. I was going to say eggs, but now eggs are going up. But all of our food is going up right now, though, period. But like, you can get chicken, you can get, a bunch of protein and some bags of frozen vegetables. Like, I think a lot of times people want this like insane variety in their diet. Well, the cheapest way to do it is you say to yourself, all right, this week for lunch, I'm doing ground turkey, and I'm going to put a little taco seasoning on it. And then I'll cut up some green peppers and onions, and I'll make like a little taco bowl, but you're not going to include the sour cream and the cheese, of course, because that's not going to be healthy. But, maybe some little tomatoes or whatever. And then you just buy a bunch of turkey meat, some red peppers, some onions, you call it a day. That's your lunch for the week. Breakfast, I've been doing, I've been making these like egg cup things. Are so good. Oh my God. So I don't know if you've ever made it. You just take like a little muffin tin and you grease it up. You put some egg whites in there. You put first you put your veggies you want in there. You put, and if you want any meat in there, like, turkey bacon, turkey sausage or something. And then you put your egg whites in there. It's banging. You've put it in the oven, cook it. You've got these little like egg cups that last you throughout the whole entire week. You can pop them in the freezer even. So basically, where there's a will, there's a way. Okay. You just have to figure it out. The thing is we make excuses. I've done it. We all do it. Oh, it's so expensive. It's just cheaper to get this. Oh, I don't have enough time to meal prep. Oh, I don't have enough time to go to the gym. We have enough time to, go buy all the unhealthy food. We have enough time to watch TV. We have enough time to do all of these other things. If it's important to you, you will make the time.
It's about being disciplined.
Yeah.
Look, I work a lot of hours and I try to fit the gym in. Like, probably not today because I'm doing the juice cleanse. It's probably not a good idea to completely go on an empty stomach, because I'm one of those guys that when I go to the gym, and if let's say I had a potato or something, I'm just using an example, and then half hour in, I'm like, I'm exhausted. Where are those Tootsie Rolls right now at Planet Fitness? Because I could smash a whole freaking bag of Tootsie Rolls right now because I'm so hungry. So I think that's it's finding a good balance because not everybody is going to do the exact same thing. I know a lot of people who go to the gym on an empty stomach. I cannot.
Mm,
If I go to the gym on an empty stomach, I am done in 20 minutes. I have
yeah.
to have at least something and something substantial in
Mhm,
my system in order to burn that off. And then the post-workout nutrition is huge too.
mhm.
Because whether it's protein, whether you're having a protein drink or having, chicken, you're having turkey, like you said, or some people will go like what I would be tempted to do and say like, well, look, I had a great workout. I'm going to reward myself by drinking a craft beer or getting like a big sandwich or a burrito. And you say, so again, you just wiped out your workout. Um, so it's all about maintaining that discipline right now.
Yeah, and look, we're not going to be perfect in the beginning. When you're learning, you're I always tell people this. Start out making small goal or small changes every week. You don't go into the gym and do for your day one, go to the gym, stay there for 2 hours, completely revamp your entire meals, like your whole life, the way you're eating, get rid of the booze, only drinking water, healthiest food on earth. And bam, you're going to give up probably within a day or two because you're gonna be like, this shit, oh, sorry.
No, you can curse.
This shit is this is impossible. Like it's too much, you know what I mean? And then we quit because it's too hard to do. But if you start making little changes weekly, all right, this week I'm done with the soda and I'm going to make sure I get in the gym 4 days this week for at least 30 minutes. Next week, I'm taking out, some of the carbs that I have that I shouldn't be having. And I'm going to make sure I get to the gym 5 days this week for 40 minutes. You know what I mean? Just gradually make changes and get your body accustomed to these changes so that you're not like killing yourself immediately and then giving up. But the bottom line is this, really, the bottom line is this, like you just have to want to do it. I can't give you the tips to do it. I can help, you know what I mean? You can help. We can motivate people. You never know who's going to see what you're doing and say, oh, wow, well, they did it, so maybe I can do it. So I'm not saying like, oh, forget you, I'm not trying to help you, but I have people reach out to me all the time. Still, they reach out to me. And there's people that have reached out to me numerous times and they don't make any changes. I can't. So it's like you give them all the advice that you can, you give them all the knowledge that you can and stuff. But until the day that they just are done and tired of it, they won't do it. And that's the sad part is like, we can't will people to, want to make the healthy changes. And I get it. It's freaking hard. Food is good. Food is awesome. I still struggle on a regular basis with my weight and what I eat and stuff.
What's your vice? What's something that when you smell it, you're like, uh-oh, look, I'm preparing for a competition. I have this going on, but I smell that and I want that in my stomach right now.
So it's so weird because I was always like a chips person, like potato chips. And then like, I love like pepperoni and cheese. That's my shit. I don't know why. Like, I just love pepperoni and cheese, but I was more of a salty person. Yes, I like sweets too, but like I could turn down cake and stuff like that. After my first competition though, like, I think because all the sugar was like taken out of my diet, now, and this is going, I started in preparing for my competition January of 2021. So since 2021, now I cannot say no. Well, I do, but like sugar in general, any kind of desserts or anything like that are like brutal for me to say no to. And it's so weird because that never used to be I'll walk by, we have bowls of like mini bags of chips right now, like tons of them at work. I walk by them every day. Don't care. Put a cookie in front of my ass. Oh, forget about it. Like, it's like literally, I feel like a junkie and you got the needle right there. And I'm just like, oh God, oh God, oh God, I want it so bad. Like, it's really, it becomes, it's strange how hard it is to turn things down. But like when you're trying to just maintain a healthy lifestyle, you don't have to turn everything down. But if you eat that cookie, you better remember you ate that cookie, and, make adjustments throughout your day. Don't eat 25 of them. And, it's all about balance, really.
Yeah.
That's, what it comes down to.
That's what I did. So last couple of years, again, I've never been overweight, but I've been more than I wanted to. I wanted to maintain, if I could get to about back to 200, because my whole thing is that it's muscle. It's like I put on a lot of muscle. It's just, I would love to have a 6-pack of abs. It's just, I like going, I like fries. I'm a big fry guy. My thing is when I lose weight, and when I'm on a weight loss thing, I also get into sugar. I will go and get like an energy drink. I'll get the C4 at the gas station.
We've
and
had
I look
many
over.
Talks about energy drinks and stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. All our DMs about I'm looking at them right now, but I'm not going to drink them right now. But the Smarties, what is it? Rice or Reese or whatever that is. That
Rise,
energy.
I guess, right?
Yeah. Rise. Yeah. RYSE.
Yeah.
But C4 or Ghost are the other ones that I usually have. And I'll be at the gas station, and then I'll look over and I'll see a bag of Sour Patch Kids. I'm like, boys, that sounds really good. And it does nothing for you other than just, it's sweet and it's tangy, and you have it.
It does something. I swear to God, I feel like sugar's like as close to like, I think it's like a legal drug. It has to be. The way it affects my brain and stuff sometimes, like it's nuts. Like, and I can binge on some sugar, but so like abs. That's another thing, right? Like having an actual visible set of abs. That is not easy to do. And that is not something that you can even keep all year round. Because in order to have like a 6-pack showing or whatever, like have your abs showing and stuff like that, you have to be in like a caloric deficit. And it takes a very long time. So like my abs, I don't really get like a great stomach until like maybe a month out from a competition, maybe like, 3-4 weeks out or 2 weeks out, whatever. And they're only there from that time until about a week or 2 after the competition.
Get your photos right now.
Exactly. The rest of the time they're gone. But of course, we live in a world where we see all the pictures on, Instagram and stuff like that. And we're seeing a lot of we recycling photos, showing the photos of us from the stage and stuff like that. And then we have these like unrealistic expectations of life. You cannot walk around every single day. Now you can walk around and have a nice stomach. I'm not saying your stomach has to be gigantic and sloppy, all year long or anything, but like, it's I would say there's like, even if you're just a person not wanting to compete or anything like that, like there should be a season where you're leaner, and then a season where you allow yourself to have a little bit more calories, a little bit more freedom, especially if you're someone that wants to go to the gym and build muscle and stuff like that. You are not going to build more muscle if you are super lean. You need to have a little more fuel and stuff to build the muscle. So it's all about finding like the balance that works for you.
And what results you see? Because like one thing that helped me, and I've mentioned this on a couple of podcasts, but what I did 2 years ago was we couldn't do anything for New Year's. Everything was locked down. There were curfews and everything. So 2020 into 21. And what I said was, I want to, I tried an experiment and it worked for me. It worked for me. It might not work for everybody. I am going to go out and get fast food. I'm going to disgust myself with the amount of fast food I'm going to eat. Because I was about I was at the most I ever weighed, which was about 233. And I went to Dairy Queen. I got a Treats of pizza. I went to Hardee's, got a big burger, Popeye's chicken sandwich, Rally's or Checkers, wherever, depending on where you're at, fries, and had a couple of places. And then I had like a 6-pack of beer and some champagne. And I got done with that. I started eating it because it became gratuitous. And then the next day when I woke up, I was looking at the damage that I created. And I'm like, that is so gross to think about. And it helped me all the way up until and I ended up losing about 15 pounds because of it. I cut the booze, cut the fast food, because I created this feeling inside me of when I see that, I'm immediately remember to how disgusting I felt on New Year's by doing that. And I didn't drink for almost a month until I went to the Ship Bottom Brewery in Beach Haven, New Jersey. And we went to Atlantic City for the Comedians of the Compound a couple of years ago. But were you at that one?
I think I did go to one in Atlantic City. Did they only do one in Atlantic City?
They might have done two.
Is that the one in December?
This was in January. This is in January where they had to carry Gino back to his
Matt
hotel.
Mead was there. You know Matt Mead.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Matt Mead was there and all of them. Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
I think I saw you there. Were you up on the rooftop bar?
I was, yes.
Hanging out with Matt and them? Were you in that area with them?
Kind of. I was
I was
hanging
there
out
with I was sitting at a table with my friend with that ski mask,
yes.
That guy.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say about him.
We know about him. But that's what was interesting was that was the first weekend I started. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna slowly start to drink. But even at that time, I mean, both when I saw Gino, like say, the only word you can understand on stage began with an N, and he was so loaded. I'm like, God, I don't want to do that to myself anymore. Right. So after that weekend, I still maintained it. So yeah, I did get a cheesesteak at Pat's. We drove through Philly, went to Pat's, got a cheesesteak, but I didn't feel as right eating that stuff. So you find that balance for yourself, but not everybody's going to do that. Some people will have a smorgasbord, a huge feast, and then go, yeah, that was pretty good. I'm going to continue doing that. So that's what I did. And then last year I ended up losing, I think I lost about 20 pounds, and I lost that because I had an appendix removed and I couldn't eat, bad food. I couldn't drink. So it was almost like you almost need that crutch. Like you said, a trauma, you walk in on your boyfriend with somebody else. So you need something like that. I'm not suggesting anybody do that, but it is
Somebody
a nice
cheat
crutch.
on me, please.
Exactly. Or like, I mean, think about it. People who had COVID, a lot of people, they don't feel like eating. They can't keep foods down, whatever. And then when they come back from it, they're like, well, now that I'm healthier, maybe I should continue this lifestyle. So you kind of take a lot of those negatives and you turn them into positives.
Yeah. And, as soon as you start seeing or feeling the positive things from it, like how you said, you see that first vein or you see that line of definition. Now suddenly those feelings start to feel better than the feelings you get when you eat that Big Mac or whatever. You know what I mean? You've got to start to get addicted to the healthy feelings and stuff versus like that getting addicted to that temporary good high that we get from like all the food and all the nasty stuff. And just remember, like Dr. Phil said, food is there for us to survive. It is not what our whole life should revolve around. And like when I was prepping for competitions and stuff, I'm how am I even going to go out with my friends? Like, what's the point? Might as well not see anybody. And I'm trying to get out of that mind frame now, because I'm thinking, because automatically, if you're out with people, that means you need to be drinking and eating. Well, why can't we just be out with people talking and drinking a glass of water or some Diet Coke or whatever? Like, it doesn't always have to be life doesn't have to revolve around it. I know that food is fun, but it just doesn't always have to be like what our whole entire lives revolve around. And once, you start feeling a little bit better about yourself, like there's no better feeling than that. Like just feeling better about yourself and having people come to you or look to you for advice and stuff like that. And just appreciating the progress that you've made and everything.
Now, what are your thoughts on intermittent fasting?
So I've never done it. People swear by it though. And then there's like multiple, there's like a couple different ways. Like there's some people that swear by, that, only eating for 8 hours a day, right? And in those 8 hours, eat whatever the hell you want and you're going to lose the weight. Well, clearly, I don't think that that's healthy. Okay. And maybe you might have success that way. I don't know. I don't know how, but I do know a lot of people that have done that. The same with like that, what's that? Keto diet, right? Like where they, but they're eating cheese all the time and making buffalo chicken dip with cheeses and all kinds of crazy stuff. Well, that can't be good. now intermittent fasting where you're like actually eating decent in that amount of time, I think that that's fine. And a lot of times that's almost similar to like, I guess like with bodybuilding and stuff, because a lot of times we'll wake up in the morning, we won't eat anything. We have to go do our cardio and stuff like that. Then you come home, you finally have your first meal and stuff. But I don't know enough about it to like say for sure. Me personally, the diet that works the best for me is I eat like every 2.5, 3 hours. I'm eating all freaking day long.
But what do you eat?
I eat small, healthy meals. So I will, like, for instance, I had made a pot of soup that had like cabbage in it, carrots, ground turkey, like little mini meatballs made out of ground turkey, but like there was no breadcrumbs in the meatballs or anything, just a little bit of seasoning and stuff. Big ass pot of soup, and I had that every day, along with, I might have a little teeny salad. Pre-workout, I might have an English muffin with a protein shake. Post-workout, I might do the same thing, an English muffin with another protein shake. That's 2 meals right there. Then I'll have, the soup with, some salad or something like that. For dinner, I might have some chicken with a sweet potato and another vegetable. But like, you can't just have I don't have every vegetable, just because some vegetables are not as good for you as others. It's good for me. So I have a lot of like, the spinach, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, like the leafy greens and stuff like that, green beans, cucumbers, that kind of stuff. But I eat all the time. I'm eating every couple hours. So there's no real excuse for me to be like, I'm so hungry. Like, because I'm having another meal, like 2 hours after I just had a meal. It's just, you got to figure out what works best for you. But I believe that way of eating actually works great, because your body is constantly like getting revved up. You're not ever feeling like you're starving. So your body's never going into that starvation mode. The worst thing you can do is just not eat, wait a million hours and then eat, because then your body's like kind of holding on to all of that, because they don't know when they're going to, doesn't know when it's going to eat again.
Yeah. And it depends with intermittent fasting. Like, I think it can work as long as in those 8 hours, you don't eat house and home. It's when you get to, you're like, oh, I'm going to do 16 and 8. So 16 fast, 8 eating. But if that first meal, when you start eating, is like going to Taco Bell and getting the crunch wrap breakfast, you say, okay, well, you just kind of erased a lot of the potential gains that you had. So you got to make sure that you're going to have some smoked almonds. What really helped was peanuts. Peanuts are just, it's something to kind of snack upon, and they don't really do too much. And especially if you eat them whole, you'll find them later. Didn't really digest all that well. So it's all about finding that balance. But and I think we could wrap up the podcast here, is that they say that having a trend, starting a routine takes about 3 weeks. They say it's about 21 days. This is human biology, of about 3 weeks of you stay on, whether it's a diet, whether it's exercise. It could be anything. It could be just doing, some like extracurricular work. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. 3 weeks. And then you get to a point where you go, okay, now I think I can do this. So it's almost like the biggest struggle are those first couple of weeks of doing it, because by the time you get to February, you're like, gosh, I'm still going to the gym. I'm eating pretty well. And then you're going to see those results come swimsuit season. And you say, wow, I actually did this. It's just a matter of trying to keep yourself disciplined those first couple of weeks. And then if you can get through that, it starts becoming very easy for a lot of people.
Yeah. And also, like, fad diets, they come and go, right? Like in all fad diets, they're going to work for a minute, right? But are they maintainable or sustainable for the rest of your life? That's what you got to realize. Like, okay, keto, are you never going to eat freaking bread for the rest of your life? Because as soon as you start eating a little bread, like, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And check back on all your keto friends. I know a whole lot of keto friends that lose a ton, gain a shit ton back, lose a ton, gain a ton back. One thing I'll say is I have maintained a healthy weight for like almost 3 years. You've got to find a balance. And also you got to quit. Now I'm going to get a little tough, right? Do you want it or not? Do you want to do it or not? Do you want to live the rest of your life making excuses for why you don't succeed because you're afraid you're going to fail? Or do you want to shut up, suck it up, get in there, make the food that you got to make that you don't feel like eating, do the workouts that you don't feel like doing because you know you're tired of looking the way that you look, or you're tired of feeling the way that it's not always about looks. Maybe you feel awful. Maybe you're just a bag of bones and you have no muscle or energy or anything like that. It's not always about physical appearance. It's also, we want to live longer and stuff. If you have children, do you want to be there for your kids? Do you want to be the best version of you? Or do you want to sit at home every day, complain, cry, make excuses for yourself, feel sorry for yourself, and never change? That's what it's
true.
about.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I've seen I have a couple of friends that are extremely overweight and they have young kids. And I'm like, do you really want to not be there for your daughter's graduation or her wedding and walking your daughters down the aisle? It's like, it's kind of a good motivation for it. Because I mean, how many, it's like, oh, well, he was always a big guy and his heart gave out. It's like, yeah, he's a big guy, 700 pounds, and you're well on your way to doing that. So I think what it comes down to is the fitness community is very welcoming for a lot of people. I know people look at the Instagrams, they look at the girls wearing thongs, and the guys are just like have muscles on muscles, and but instead of looking to those people saying, I'll never achieve that, I got to use that as motivation that maybe I may not achieve that, but I want to achieve something where I can shed the extra 10, 20, 50, 100 pounds and do it healthy, not starve myself, not, look, if some people need a stomach stapling, they need some kind of, whatever they need to get them over the hump. I have no problem with that. As long as when you are going to the gym, you're going there and we're all working there. And then it gets really supportive. And then a lot of it is what it comes down to, what you are making at home. Yeah. and how you're going to eat. Because again, don't be like me for the first few years of me working out. Yeah, I'm starting to see results, but I also went over to Wendy's after and got a junior bacon cheeseburger thinking that that's going to be a good post-workout meal. Well, see, there's protein in the burger, right?
I did it too. And I'm like, well, clearly I'm going to lose weight because I'm still eating the same way, but I've been working out now. No, you're just not going to maybe gain as much more, but no, you gotta make all the changes.
Well, you'll gain a lot of weight because the muscle will help. It's just you're also now gaining fat too. So then you're going to gain a lot more weight after that. So unless you're bulking up for whatever the case is. So Angela, how can this has been great. How can people reach you if they have any questions, if they're looking to try and get back on some kind of regimen, whether it's in January, whether it's down the road? Is Instagram the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah, I think so. Like Facebook gets too crazy. It's like mixed with my work and stuff. So it's just too much. I don't even look in there anymore.
So AR_fitness78, you said?
Yes.
Is that what
like I said, very original. When you start working out, you definitely start an Instagram and you put the word fitness in there. That's just, of course, apparently what you do.
And then you get a lot of simps in the comments going like, oh, you're beautiful. What's your number? Text, DM.
Yeah.
So
God, yeah, crazy.
But and by the way, that's the last thing is that I'm sure that since you lost all this weight, you're getting you're starting to look at different guys that are paying attention to you as opposed to where you were a few years ago. So if that's not a motivation for a lot of people by saying, wow, look at me, I'm now attracting better looking people as opposed to what I used to. So it really helps out.
And it comes down to this though, too, like the better you feel about yourself, the better your confidence is and stuff. So it's not even always like 100%. Yes, obviously the better, we all like to look at things that look good. Okay. Yeah. But you start carrying yourself differently and you start attracting different because you feel differently. And now your standards are higher. Like you're not picking people that are just horrible people because you're like, you know what? No, I'm the shit. And I deserve someone that's equal.
Yeah. It's a nice confidence booster and it helps out in a lot of different ways too.
Yes.
Or you can, eat bad food and settle for whoever it is. So, it's up to
let them cheat on you with a skinny girl.
That's correct. Hey, see, that's how we bring it full circle here in this podcast.
Choose what works for you.
Man, that's a crazy story. That's a crazy story. I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm also, in a way, you hate saying blessing in disguise, but
Oh my
you
God.
wouldn't
Listen,
be here if this.
the funniest thing now is he is a big guy now. It's
Oh,
hilarious. Yeah. So like it all just works itself out like in the end. And I'm so glad it happened because it's the funniest story. And if we had time to go into it, I told it on the podcast. It is the funniest story, the way things panned out that day. I'm talking, it was like a 6-hour ordeal there. And then I immediately went over to Stacy's and we did a podcast about it. Well, I didn't want to. I'm over there crying. And she's like, we got to do a podcast. Stacy Pressman always got to capitalize on things. So anyway, we did it. Greatest podcast ever. Greatest thing that ever happened to me, because I'd probably still be fat and dealing with him. So it was a good thing. But anyway, I know we got to get going. You got to drink some juice.
more juice in my juice cleanse. But yes, other podcasts and everything. But Angela, thank you again so much for doing this. And I hope that this podcast can get out and help motivate some people into going, look, I've been going to because I'm putting this out next week, which would be the 18th. So you're talking about almost that 3 weeks of people saying, I'm going to stay with it. Okay, well, we'll hope that because that third week is a big week where you're like, do I continue this? Or do I just, I already paid for the year. Maybe at some point I'm going to go. So hopefully we can get a lot of people being a little more health conscious and get them
and if you stop,
motivated.
Just start back up.
Yeah.
That's it. If you have a couple days, just start back up. I don't care if it's freaking June. Just do it.
Just go for it. It doesn't have to be January 1st. So
right.
Yes. So thanks again, Angela. And AR_fitness78 on Instagram if you want some motivation. And I appreciate you folks for listening and sometimes watching the Check Your Brain podcast. And go to patreon.com/Tony Mazur if you're watching this for free. Go support me because I'm trying to lose weight and health food is expensive.
You can do it.
I need to pay another $40 for a pre-workout and $80 for protein, but
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, we're going to get you a third job. Well, me too, for this protein stuff.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, take care, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for listening.